Hello there guys and girls of YouTube. Well then, here we have a Fiat Cinquecento complete wiring loom, engine components and wiring loom. Everything under the bonnet of a Fiat Cinquecento, which requires a sensor or some form of input from the ECU, is all in front of you here. This is hopefully going to go onto a 903 engine, Seat Marbella. Now the 903 engine and the Cinquecento 899 engine are pretty much the same engine. They just have a different cylinder head, but doesn't matter, it'll work. Oh, different cylinder head and different rocker cover. The only differences there are with the engine. Oh, one's got a fuel pump and one's not. You know, mechanical one. Because one of them's carburetor driven. The 903 is. Now I'm just going to go over this just to show you what all the different components are. This may help someone if they're trying to diagnose faults with the engine, why it won't run properly or anything. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. Also to keep a backup of what components look like and things, just so I know which one's what, for my own personal, reference. So, where shall we start? Alright. I've tried to lay it out in the same engine bay configuration as what's on the Cinquecento, roughly. So where you see the components is where they will be on the engine-ish. For instance, you've got your lambda sensor, which will be on your exhaust manifold right at the bottom end of the engine, right at the back, which is where it is. You've got your crank sensor, which is this one here, that one, which is down near your crank pulley with your belt on it. Which is on this side of the engine. Throttle body, which is sat directly above your spark plugs, your alternator-ish kind of thing, just away from the alternator. That's there. You've got your coil pack, which is on this side of the engine, bolted to the rocker cover itself, and you've got your thermostat housing with the temperature sensor, which bolts in the top. The 903 I don't think has got the temperature sensor in it. It doesn't know. The 903 engine doesn't have a temperature sensor there. It has the temperature sensor. Imagine the cylinder head with the rocker cover here. Your temperature sensor on that, the one that goes on your dashboard, your little gauge that tells you how hot your engine's getting, is a little sensor that's like here, just there, where your carburetor is. So your carburetor's sat there. You look just to the side here on your cylinder head, and you've got a little sensor with a wire, single wire going into it, and that's your temperature sensor to tell you on your dashboard how hot your engine's getting. Or if you're really low spec, you've just got a little light bulb that lights up whenever you overheat. Quite handy. Could do with it being a beeper or something, but no, it just lights up. Anyway, so sensors. Right, we've got the manifold absolute pressure sensor, otherwise known as a MAP sensor or a vacuum sensor. That plugs into here, just there, next to your relays, and that plugs onto a vacuum line which is just there. Sadly it's snapped, but it doesn't matter that much. So that plugs into just there. That's where that plugs onto your throttle body. You have got your coil packs, which plug down here, and they go up to your coil packs. Now I probably have not got these in the correct order, because these coil packs, I think on this ECU, one coil works cylinders 1 and 4, the other coil works cylinders 2 and 3. Let me sit down, my legs are killing me. I've been walking around Scrapyard all day. Sometimes they are labelled. The ones on the Seat Marbella are actually labelled what cylinders do what, but obviously with this we just got to guess. If you get flames coming out your that's my phone message tone. Proximity mines off Unreal Tournament, if you want to know what that message tone is. Proxy mines, yeah. If you get flames come out of your throttle body when you crank over, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be you've got your coil packs on the wrong way around. So just swap them 2 leads over and hopefully that'll fix your problems. If not, you've got timing issues, probably with your crank sensor not being set right or something like that. I'm not sure, but that's a possibility. Right, your throttle body, you've got 3 sensors on this and the injector, so you've got 4 plugs on your throttle body. You have got what have you got on here? Right, you've got what I think is a pressure sensor, fuel pressure sensor, that thing there. Could be a throttle position. No, wait, you've got, that could be a stepper motor. Could be, don't quote me on that. You've got a throttle position sensor, which is this one here. You've got a temperature sensor, which is this one here, which goes to that little thermistor there. That checks your air temperature coming into the engine. Obviously that then adjusts what air-fuel ratio mixture you need. And obviously you've got your injector, which is just here. Now, on here you have got, which probably needs renewing because the plastic's all coming off it, your crank position sensor. I'm not sure if it's also called the top dead sensor. The top dead center sensor. I'm not sure if it's called that. I have to look that one up. Oil over my hands. I've not cleaned this up yet. I've only just got back from the scrapyard, so yeah. What else is there to show you? Ah, yes. For those of you who do not know, the orange wire here goes to your fuel pump. I've traced this green and black striped wire, green with a black striped wire, all the way down to the tank, and that goes, obviously it's got to go to the fuel pump, so that's quite nice. I've also tracked these 2 cables here, and they go to, grass in it, and they go to the light bulb on the dashboard, which tells which displays your ECU fault light, your injector light on the Cinquecento, which that's just going to get hooked up to the. We're going to hook that up to the ECU light on the Marbella. Now, oh, you've got this little guy down here, which is not that important, funnily enough, if you're going to do a conversion like what we're doing. However, you have to leave it plugged in, otherwise you get your code light come on. This is a solenoid valve, and all this is for is to run any gases through to your carbon filter, and then it puts them back down and does whatever the hell they do with them, back into the tank, I think. Oh, and I think it vents through this port here. It vents through into the intake of the engine through this bit, which sits on top of your thingy, all the way around. It sits, not hooking on things like that. It sits on there, and you get this pipe here, which comes around and sits on that bit there, and that goes into your breather for your crankcase. Well, for your rocker cover, sorry, your rocker cover breather. That's what that sits on. Now, what else is there to show you? If you are going to do the conversion on your Seat Marbella, if you've got issues with your Seat Marbella and it's using a ton of fuel, it's probably down to the fact your stupid ECU system, carburetor system with cat converter and electronics and blah, is probably messing up, because they do on the Seat Marbella. They're well renowned for it. So the easiest thing to do is to convert it just to an old-fashioned carburetor system. Well, it's actually not that easy to do, because you don't have all your timing and things. You haven't got your distributor. So I would say the easiest thing to do would be to either swap the engine over with that one out of a Cinquecento and the wire loom and everything, or do what I'm doing here and keep the original the 903 engine and just convert it to single point injection. Now, one thing you do have to do with your throttle body, because this does not fit directly on, sadly, does not fit directly onto your 903 carburetor block. This is actually part of the rocker cover of the 899 engine. You do have to saw it off. You saw it off, and thankfully it's held on with 4 bolts, and it's got a gasket that goes around there. I've got in that bag over there. So you do not need to you don't need to take your rocker cover off the 903. You leave that on. That'll be fine. I'll just go through what some of these pipes do on this throttle body, because it may confuse people. Right, you've got a coolant line here. I can't remember if that's an input or an output. It's an output. That's an output coolant line. You've got an input coolant line here, which this pipe fits onto this pipe here. This is off a different car. This is off my old Cinquecento. But that pipe there fits on there like that, and it fits onto this throttle body. You know what I mean, thermostat housing. It bypasses the thermostat, I think. Yeah, it does. It bypasses your thermostat, so you still have your heaters that work to warm your throttle body up, and also the one that goes to your heater matrix, which warms your in-cab up. Nice. You have your vacuum line here for your master cylinder, if you're lucky enough to have a master cylinder, a vacuum assisted master cylinder on your car. That's what that does. If you don't have one, cut the pipe, crimp it, put a bolt in it, block it off. That one there, I think, is only for the that's only for the 903. Sorry, that's only for the 899. I can't remember what that plugs into now, but it's only for the 899, so just block that off. You don't need that. Can't remember if that's a fuel line or not now. I've got stuck. No, this is a fuel line, and that's a fuel line. Yeah, I've got it now. Right. So you've got 2 fuel lines here on the sides. These are the ones that come from your fuel tank. It takes 1 bar, or anywhere between 0.8 of a bar to 0.2 of a bar, 1.2 bar fuel pressure goes into here, and it automatically regulates it inside the throttle body, thankfully, and it will inject into the into the throttle body. One of them is an input, one of them is an output. I'm not sure which way around it goes. I've got to figure that out. But yeah, you need 1 bar's worth of fuel pressure that goes into there. What else was I going to show you? Yes, you've got... Right, this is for the evaporation system, I do think it's called. The environmental control evaporation system. Stops harmful gases coming out of the carburetor, the throttle body and whatnot. Now you can just take these 2 pipes here, this pipe here, and just block it off. That pipe, and I do believe that pipe actually, I can't remember now what goes where, but I do believe that the manifold absolute pressure, I'll have to check this out, and I'll leave a note in the description. I thought that went there like that, and it fit onto that one, but it could fit that one there. It doesn't matter where it fits, as long as it gets a vacuum from your manifold, so, you know, which is this part, some manifold. But as long as it gets a vacuum from there, it doesn't matter where it fits. So you could technically block off that pipe there and put the manifold absolute pressure sensor onto that, or you could leave it onto that one if that is not a fuel return. But it's all to do with the annoying thing, which, like I say, you can block it off. It's not required. You don't need it on this. That's what the big carbon filter's for, the big gas carbon filter thing. Now you've got, like I say, you got those wires there. I've told you what they do. Don't forget about your earths, guys and girls. Earths are really important on this. Without clean earths, your engine goes mental and you get flashing lights and all sorts on your dashboard. Not good. So make sure you put your earths back. There are 3 earths on this loom. There's that one there, and there are these 2 here. Those two wires there, which are earths. That one sadly snapped off when I thingy, but they bolt onto the two bolts here on your thermostat housing, just those two there. So those two eyes bolt to that through the bolts. Just something to remember. And I think that's about it. Oh yes, lambda sensor on this wiring loom is a 2-plug system, each plug containing 2 wires. Whether on the Seat Marbella system, it's also a 2-plug system, but one plug has 2 wires and the other plug only has a single wire in it. Of course, this one does more lambering. I don't know what it does, but I know it reads O2 content and probably hydrocarbons in the exhaust gases, which is why it needs the extra line, because it does one more extra thing. We do have a main. I do think this is a main live input for the wiring loom. Now, you clever people out there will be saying to yourself, those who are good at electronics, all right, so how does the ECU know that you've just turned your ignition on? Because there's no ignition lives on this. And funny enough, yeah, I know. And do you know, for the life of me, I don't know. I've got no idea. I don't know how the hell this thing knows when there's an ignition live on. All I can assume is that it just does somehow through these cables here. But yeah, I don't know how it knows there's an ignition live. That one goes to the fuel pump, which I travelled it. Get my words right here. I traced it all the way back to the fuel tank, and that was the same wire going to the tank. I didn't continuity test it though, I just went by wire colours, so it could be wrong. I need a Haynes manual or some form of wiring diagram. And these 2 wires here went up into the dashboard and to the little bulb that lights up when you get a fault on your ECU, when you first start your engine up. Again, I'm just not sure. But it could be that these pull to, well, that one pulls to earth, and that just merely earths the ECU light out, and the ECU itself has a constant live going to it. Sorry, the ECU light bulb in the dashboard has a constant live going to it. This is just theory, by the way. And that could be an ignition live picker-upper, probe, which tells it when the ignition's turned on. But the 2 colours went to both sides of the bulb, so positive and negative, so to speak. This is theory as well, don't forget. This is just what I was picking up. I didn't continuity test anything. I wished I had a continuity tester with me at the time, but I didn't. This is where I need a wiring diagram, and I will rectify this part of the video if and when I find out how it detects when the ignition live's on. So, big speech. 18 minutes worth of talking, 18 minutes and 25 seconds. 7 seconds, adding the YouTube video intro. Yeah. Oh yeah, and also another thing is your throttle cable. It's very short. I don't know if it's going to fit on the car. I hope it will. It's going to be touch and go, but if not, there's got to be some way I can extend it. I'm hoping anyway. So I'm hoping that's going to be the right length to fit on the Seat Marbella. The engine bays are about the same size, so we've just got to keep us fingers crossed on that one. Obviously when you pull on that, it makes your throttle open and close. That wasn't a full open or close. But yeah, the reason why you have to change this cable over is because, sorry, on your carburetor's 903 engine, it is a funny ball joint with a white plastic clip on it, which opens and closes your butterfly on your throttle. Whether on this it's the push bike lock kind of thing where it's got the big, I don't know, bar thing and the cable pokes through the middle. Whatever. Anyway, I really do hope. Oh, one last thing. If ever you decide to put a rev counter on your Cinquecento, it is one of these relays. Just test it out first with your rev counter. You're not going to wreck it, but just earth out your rev counter, or earth out, sorry. You can tap off one of these plugs. Now, if I can wedge the camera, I can remember which one it is. I'll set it on my knee. It is this one, I do think. And you literally just stick your wire in that pin there, this one, and then just stick your relay back in to trap the wire, and there you go, you've got a rev counter. Easy as that. Or you can, if you really want to, take your rev directly off the injector. If you was clever enough, I suppose you could even do it off your crank sensor. But easiest way to do it is just by taking it off the end pin there on I think it was pin number 85, I think it is. There is actually a how to do it on Fiat forum. If you go on Fiat forum and look in the Cinquecento sections, in the how-to section, there is actually a how-to about fitting a rev counter to this wiring loom. It doesn't matter what the wiring loom is. Oh yes, and I know this is at the end of the video, which is a bit of a shame. The ECU itself, which is obviously the most important part. This is the magic ECU, the 6F ECU. That means that this ECU does not have a coded immobilisation system. It means that behind the dashboard there's no little RFID pickup things behind the key fobs, you know, behind the steering column. No crap. No stuff to go wrong. Okay, it doesn't make the car as secure, but it makes it a lot easier to do all this with. You can use obviously a coded system if you want to do this, but then you've got to factor in all that stuff, which is more wires going into the dashboard. You've got to find out where they go, you've got to find out what they do. Believe me, it took me long enough just to find out what these little wires do here, these 4 cables here. Which, funny enough, are the only things that go to the rest of the car loom, which I thought was quite incredible, really. Just 4 more wires. So yes, 6F, made in 93, for the Fiat quotation 500, for the 0.9 cc engine, which is 899 obviously, 12 volts, and probably someone can scan that and get all the mapping off it or something, like them barcodes, I'm not sure. These do have a code reading plug here, a map reading plug here, diagnostics, which is, it's 3 cables. There's some clever guy out there who's managed to make a program for this to read it all, and a little interface box as well. The schematics are all on, I think they're on Fiat form actually. The schematics are all on Fiat form, so if you just check on there, you'll pick it up and find it. But yes, I hope this video has been helpful to anybody, and I really hope that it, if anybody's got a fault with their wiring loom, sorry it went on for so long, I just hope that it can, I don't know, fix any faults you've got with your car. I did this because you guys need, there's people out there who need assistance, and what better way to show it is the complete wiring loom, not even on the car, going to the parts it needs to go to. So there you go, guys and girls. I hope this works out, this helps you out. I hope you fix your car, and if you're doing one of the 903 conversion projects, God help you. Nah, if you're doing one of those 903 conversion projects, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope this video helps you out no end. Keep watching though, I'll be doing more videos, if you can stand me, that is, on this, of fitting this to the actual car itself. The idea is I'm going to leave the original car's wiring loom in, the engine wiring loom, because that is ECU controlled through carburetor. Don't ask questions, it's just so annoying. Actually, you can ask questions if you want, I'll respond in the comments. But yeah, it's going to be a big job, but we'll get to it. For now, I'm just going to stick all this in a big plastic bag, waterproof bag, chuck it down in the shed. I'm going to clean it all up first, degrease everything, make it look nice and pretty. Stick it down in the shed, and and hopefully we'll start work on the conversion at some point in time, hopefully soon. Aye. Well, guys and girls, thanks for watching. I hope it helps you out, and peace out.